and welcome back to Coach's Corner. It is a Thursday, July 11th. It is a pretty nice evening. It's hot outside, but that doesn't stop us from enjoying the summer, enjoying the nice weather that is, it's not raining. So that's pretty cool. But we have a good show to get into. We got some basically country talk. We are going to talk about the country as a whole. Got the political games of Team USA and what has happened on the basketball court. We have a country that has fired its leader, which is our country. And we start off with the Team USA that I did mention just a moment ago. They played Canada last night, and there is one player that stood out to me in the worst way possible, Joel Embiid. Now, if you don't know me, if you don't know this show, I feel like it's pretty easy to pick up on that Joel Embiid is my least favorite player, I think, in the NBA right now. Even, I think, over the likes of LeBron James. Because at this point, legacy's done. Like, he's where he is. He's lost his finals. He's won his finals appearances and all that good stuff. So I've come to peace with how much I don't like LeBron, but he's not at the forefront of my hatred. And it is the year of hatred, I feel like, as, many beefs have happened. We've had many people just kind of, go head to head. And this is my beef against Joel Embiid. First of all, he's just a black hole. He's a big old black hole that is just a slog in the paint. He's just taking up space, and he provides no real impact to Team USA. And he stinks, and he should not be on the team, and he should just go away. And now we're going to get to in a moment, how I think Team USA is constructed and how I understand that it probably, you want to have the best players on the team, but you also do want to have a good basketball team. Joel Embiid is supposed to be one of your best players. Anytime he touched the ball, the possession was dead. The possession was a lost cause. He was in the post, just, doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then he'd throw up a fadeaway that didn't go anywhere. It was terrible, and it was disgusting basketball to watch. And, they started off the game, Team USA, basically, they're kind of experimenting. And, I mean, it's the, kind of scrimmages and whatnot. So, it makes sense. And so they played Canada with the starting lineup of Steph Curry, Devin Booker, Jrue Holiday, LeBron, and Embiid. And when I tell you that was some of the worst basketball I've ever seen played by, I'd say, an all-star team, essentially, it was terrible. They started off down 11-1 to Canada. And like I said, it was just, Joel Embiid was just a black hole. No one could really drive into the paint because he's just camping there waiting for a post-up, feed. And it was just on defense, he's just elbowing random players from Canada. He fouled out in the third quarter. He only played 12 minutes, and he fouled out in those 12 minutes. Do you know how hard that is to do? In the FIBA rules and the Olympic rules, it's actually very funny that he did that because it's supposed to be a more physical brand of basketball. But the thing about Joel Embiid is he doesn't play physical. He just plays dirty. He just plays like a bull in a china shop. And then he's just going to go on the other side and act like a bull that got shot in the leg whenever he gets fouled, quote unquote, on his terms. And it's just, I feel like a good description. This was the good encapsulation of what Joel Embiid is. He tries to join a team that he's pretty much guaranteed a gold medal, and he's probably the worst player that's going to get meaningful minutes on it. He's probably the worst player that's going to, somehow squeak his way by to a gold medal, and he's going to prounce around with that gold medal like he just won a Nobel Peace Prize, when in reality, he's the guy who works on the group project that contributes absolutely nothing because he's not a good team basketball player. He's just 7'1" and ginormous and can pretty much just bully anyone and acts like a bully until he thinks he gets fouled, and he just flails around like a big fat loser. So I cannot wait for this Olympics to be over because maybe, just maybe, we'll realize that this guy should never be on the Olympic team ever again because he's not a winner. He's not a good player to contribute to this team because even if you say he's one of the best big men that we have in the U.S., and I'm not even mentioning all the issues I have about him being like, I want to be on Team USA when he has like, he was basically, he was like one of those recruits that has all the hats laid out. And he was like USA, Cameroon, or France. And he chose USA because of course he would. It's like choosing Alabama over, South Louisiana, Lafayette, and Western Minnesota, Kentucky, whatever college you want to throw in there. Like, of course he's going to choose USA. And like I said, out of the big guys that are on Team USA, I'd say he's easily the third worst one. Like Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo played on the floor at the same time as like big man center minutes, and God, they were just miles better. And I don't even like Bam Adebayo. Last week I talked about his extension that I was like, yeah, I don't like it, but I can understand Bam Adebayo's impact on Team USA where everyone is an offensive scorer. So of course you need a guy that can kind of do it all, and he is that at least. Anthony Davis is the best two, I think, offensive defensive big probably in the league. Like really, it's not even a discussion. And then you have Joel Embiid lumbering down the court and a big old doom 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 doom, and then just giving you absolutely nothing on offense because he just wants to get in the post and flail around. And then on defense, like I said, he's fouling. He's fouled out in 12 minutes. Like, what are we doing here, dude? Like, I'm so ready for him to never be on the court ever again for Team USA. I cannot wait to not see him play anymore. And speaking of guys that I think are probably not deserving of being on Team USA, so basically the way this went down, Kawhi Leonard left Team USA because obviously, I mean, his lower half is kind of hanging on by a thread at all times. And so USA Basketball, I think, is pretty much, they have to find a replacement. And over the years, they've, I'd say, snubbed players. And they probably did with this team, but there's a lot of good players, so obviously it makes sense. But you have a last-minute replacement. There's a billion Team USA players, guys who, have been around. But who did the Team USA Basketball, who did they select to replace Kawhi Leonard? Not Jaylen Brown, not Paulo Banchero, not Trae Young, not John Morant, not Mikal Bridges, not even Jimmy Butler. They chose Derek White. And I like Derek White. I like some of the Derek White guys. I like some of the Derek White plays. But what does he know about USA Basketball? It's just like, it's one of those things where, like, they say there's kind of like the conspiracy theory that Nike kind of controls Team USA and who they bring on and whatever. And I don't think that's entirely true. But I think when it comes to situations like this, I think there's a good indication that it's true because, I mean, Jaylen Brown kind of frankly just said it on Twitter, on X, Trae Young is obviously a Adidas guy. I think John Morant's like a Jordan guy, but either way, Nike kind of controls it. And also, there's just the politics game of Team USA where, like, however you feel about Trae Young, I feel like it's safe to say he's the best passer, if not a top 3 passer in the NBA, a guy who can set up an offense, a guy who can shoot. And a team that struggled with, having a guy to really distribute the basketball where they, lost in the FIBA last summer, it was apparent that they probably could have used a player like Trae Young. I feel like this Olympic team could also use that same thing. Like, they have Tyrese Halliburton. He is good at doing, distributing the ball and whatnot. But you can have 2 of those guys on the team, But they decided not to. Jaylen Brown, if you just want to compare, like, player for player, Kawhi Leonard is like a great 2-way guy, probably maybe the best 2-way guy when healthy. Jaylen Brown is, I feel like, right up there in the league right now as one of the best 2-way players. That feels like the most obvious plug-and-play type of player to get in there. But alas, he's not there. And so I do understand, wanting to build a good basketball team. And Derek White is a good basketball player, a good team basketball player, kind of like what Jrue Holiday is on the team right now. But the thing is guys like Jaylen Brown, they can come in immediately and do those same things, but at a better level. It's not like Jaylen Brown is a selfish player coming from like the Pistons where he takes all the shots and is going to demand, 40 shots a game on this team. Jaylen Brown is a part of the Celtics team that Derek White, Jrue Holiday, and Jason Tatum are a part of. So it's like, it really doesn't even make sense from that aspect where you think like, well, there's only one ball. I mean, No, Jaylen Brown's already played in this kind of system where there's only one ball, but he deals with it, and he's really damn good at it. He was the Finals MVP. Like I don't. It's just I feel like a fundamental error at the base of what should be a fairly easy decision for Team USA basketball and Grant Hill, but they still neglect that, and someone they probably just higher powers are probably saying, "Hey, we don't want them," and here we are. But it's one of those things. It's not about putting the best team out there. It's just they're doing something silly to do something silly. It feels like. So I'm telling you all the issues that we have with this country and what Team USA is doing, but not so fast. We might have a Team USA that's actually heading in the right direction, and that is the foosball, the soccer. They fired Greg Berhalter. Finally, our long national nightmare is over. We might compete in soccer. We won't get blown out in soccer anymore, and that's pretty cool. And I'll just say, I'm not a soccer guy. Obviously, I mean, it's just not our. It's not our sport. It's just not football, basketball, baseball. We have different sports, and even then, we're not the best at baseball. Japan won the World Baseball Classic. Football, we actually, funny enough, we just lost to Japan again in football. I don't know what version of football or who's playing on that team, but they got blown out by Japan. And then basketball, like I said, we lost the FIBA last year. Germany won it. So we're not all the best in, at any of these things, but we're at least in the mix. Soccer, we have never been in the mix since I have at least been alive, it feels like. So, and people I trust with knowledge about soccer, I feel like they know what they're talking about, have mentioned how just abhorrent Greg Berhalter has been at this position and how he, doesn't utilize his players very well. And, it's not one of those things where, Team USA definitely has the best players or anything. It's not like that. It's not. But we have enough athletes, we have enough quality players that we shouldn't be losing to Uruguay and, not even having a chance to compete for the Copa America final. It's one of those things where we're pitiful. It's not even like close loss, we'll get them next time. We're losing in situations where we shouldn't be losing. And frankly, I think this is a good, shot in the arm for an organization that needs a shot in the arm. And hopefully they hire a guy that doesn't bench his best player because he doesn't like his dad. Like, there's just a lot of fundamental issues with Greg Berhalter that now we don't have to deal with. And I appreciate Team USA for dealing with that. But speaking of crazy soccer things, there was a brawl in Copa America where players entered the stands, like Malice in the Palace style. It was quite a scene. It was just a big clump of fighting for, I think, everyone. Everyone was just getting in on the brouhaha, and it was, I'd say, relatively entertaining, but probably not a great look for, I don't even know who to say that's not a great look for, but it wasn't a good look. So that was interesting. A safety, an all-pro safety is kind of down bad, and it's tough to see because Jamal Adams signed with the Tennessee Titans, and he went for a couple first-round picks a couple years ago from the Jets to the Seahawks, played good for the Seahawks for a little bit, then basically dealt with injuries the rest of his career. Signed a great extension, never lived up to it. But he signs with the Tennessee Titans basically as like table scraps now. The free agent market, everyone's done OTAs, everyone's done training camps. Like, it's one of those things we're pretty much out of a lot of the offseason stuff until basically the legitimate training camp start. And so Jamal Adams going to the Titans is, like I said, good, but it is kind of sad. It's one of those things, a player that was so good, just like shooting him out of a rocket ship was basically like what it was like watching him on the field. Is I would say as close as Cam Chancellor as we've had when he was like really locked in, playmaker, fun. But now we're seeing one of those guys who's taken a lot of beatings over the years, really kind of fall off. And the Titans could use him, so good on the Titans for snagging him, but it is kind of brutal to see. So that covers most of what I wanted to touch on. Nothing crazy has happened. We're still in the dog days of summer. Just remember that I won't be dropping a show tomorrow on Friday, but I will be promoting the show. Um, so I do appreciate everyone that's checked in, hopped in, check out the show, all that good stuff. I will see you guys next time on Monday. Hopefully, you get some good news over the weekend. Maybe some happy news. Hopefully, maybe some good sports news. And with all that being said, I am your host, Lucas Kochevar, and I will see you guys next week. Goodbye.